I'm so excited. And my guest today is a woman that I saw on stage at Podfest 2025. And I just thought, I have to meet this woman. Jen Hardy is in the house. Jen is a YouTube superstar, a superstar mom. And Jen, we're going to talk about that because I don't know how you do it all, but you're just crushing it when it comes to visibility. So, welcome to the Camera Confident podcast. Thanks so much for being here.
You are welcome. And you know, you wouldn't have interviewed me a year ago on this show. So we can talk a lot about getting confident on camera quickly.
Welcome to the Camera Confident Podcast.
I love it. I love it. And we've got some exciting stuff about what you've been doing in the shower. So stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, for people who don't know, who is Jen Hardy?
Jen Hart. So I like to help people find their fabulous. That's the bottom line. I have a podcast called Fabulous Over 50, and I also work with people on the side building their confidence in camera, because I believe that there is an audience for every single person, no matter who you are and what you look like. And I do have the Jen Hardy Show on YouTube, which is honestly one of my favorite things in my whole life right now.
Yeah, and
family.
yes, and we're going to talk about your family because you've got a big, big family. You're a mom to how many kids?
Okay, are you ready for this? I have got 7 children. I have given birth to 6 of them over 4 decades, and they span 3 generations.
Wow.
Yes.
Take us through how you go from being a mom of 7 to starting this visibility journey where you are out there all the time. You're on stages, you're on YouTube, you're on screens, you're inspiring women everywhere. You've created an award show. Like, how did you get started?
So, you know, it is a 10-year overnight success is what I keep telling people. So I started, actually, it's 11 now because it's 2025. I started as chronically positive mom. I was blogging for sick moms because I have multiple chronic illnesses and 7 children. And I don't talk about being sick anymore because it's depressing as heck. So, but for 7 years, that's what I did because I was bedridden for a while. I was in a wheelchair. I used a walker up until 2019 when I moved to an island where, I don't know, I ditched all of that. So, but I wanted to help other moms. That's how it started. I didn't want to make money. I didn't want to be seen. I was blogging, right? And then I thought, well, I'll start a podcast because people in bed can listen to a podcast. And I wrote a book, and it started growing a little bit of traction after a few years. And then 2 years ago, I said, you know, this talking about sick thing, this has got to stop because I really believe in mindset. Mindset makes such a difference. And when we tell ourselves negative things over and over, we are living those things. So I completely changed to Fabulous Over 50, got the glitter, got the rhinestones. Oh my gosh, got so many sequins. And let me tell you what, Shirley, my whole life changed. Whole life changed.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. So long story short, that's how we got here.
One of my favorite things to do when I meet someone that I really admire and want to talk to is I like to dive back to the beginning of their journey. And this is a little hack for you. If there's somebody on social media where you're like, oh my God, they're just so great and magnetic and I want to be like that, go scroll way, way, way down to their early days. And Jen, when I did that, I found a lot of videos of you in the shower. Now, before people get all freaked out, she was wearing clothes. Tell us about your epic journey with a little thing you started called Shower Thoughts.
Oh my goodness. You know, the first question everyone asks is, are you dressed? Yes, absolutely. Because my podcast is Fabulous Over 50. It is a blinged out robe and nightgown. And let me tell you, Shirley, you know, I didn't want to be on video as many other podcasters and a lot of the people that you talk to. I used to say, I have a face for radio or for podcasting. I had no desire to be on video, but everyone said, put your podcast on YouTube. And I thought, well, all right, I'll put one thing out there. But something that I never got was, why do people do shower thoughts and they're not in the shower? If they're shower thoughts, they should be in the shower. So I blinged out my robe, and I still don't use a professional microphone. I just take my iPhone in one hand and the shower nozzle in another hand, and I will batch out 1 to 200 at a time because I'm a firm believer in batching. If you're going to do shorts, batch, lesson number 1. So literally I did 100, put them up for a day, scheduled them out for a month, and walked away, went on vacation with my family. And within 3 weeks I was monetized, and I had 250,000 views in my first month, because other people
Wow.
apparently thought shower thoughts should be in the shower too. And I did take a break from them after I had posted 825. Took a couple month break thinking, I don't know how I'm going to come up with more. And you know what? I just wrote enough for the next year. So they are now back on YouTube. And oh my gosh, I'm going to tell you, it's the most fun I've ever had, I think, is standing in that shower.
I think a lot of people listening to this who don't do this kind of batching thing probably, and never mind like ChatGPT and AI, you can do that all day long. But did you have ChatGPT when you came up with 100 or 200 shower
No,
thoughts?
they were
So
just mine.
how did you come up with those ideas?
Just, all those weird ideas. We have a quirky family. When you have 7 children and, there being such a variety of ages, well, you hear all kinds of wild things. And so I had just been writing them down. So we just kept writing them and writing them. And here we have all these strange ideas. Right now, I'm rebranding my YouTube channel, which is quite honestly terrifying because I have this audience of 74,000 subscribers, and not all of them are going to like what I'm doing. And I had to make a change. So I'm starting that through the shower thoughts. We're talking about what it's like to be a woman over 50 and laughing at it a little bit. Not self-deprecating, but just saying, you know what, some of this it's a little ridiculous, but a lot of people can identify. So I think I'm using them that way to connect with my new audience.
Yeah. Oh, so much to dive into there. Before we get to your big pivot on YouTube, because I think that's fascinating and I'm very excited to talk about that. When it comes to shorts and people who are interested in getting monetized on YouTube, growing a YouTube channel, you hear conflicting advice. Shorts are not the way to get monetized. You don't want to grow with shorts. It's the long format stuff. That's where it's at. Talk to us about your strategy, your visibility strategy, and how the shorts are helping you grow a loyal audience that just can't wait to hear from you in a longer way.
So I have a different viewpoint of the people that don't agree with shorts. I'm all short. I'm all into shorts, all shorts. And part of that reason is it's the shower thoughts that got me noticed by YouTube. And because of that, with only 2,000 subscribers, I got my first community partner manager, which most people don't get till 100,000 subscribers. So I'm in a shorts community with YouTube itself, and I now have 2 partner managers. And so for me, I'm in my experience, I would say absolutely shorts, but not the same kind of shorts everyone else is doing. So what I tell everybody, and I don't know, this is my visual. It is me twisting my hand a little bit if you're just listening. But the thing is this, you take what somebody else is doing that has gone viral, that is crazy, everyone loves, and you make it yours. Like I stand in the shower, right? There are millions of shower thoughts. What made me different? No one did that. So you got to find the thing, Shirley, right? Everyone's got to find what makes you unique, because there are millions of people uploading millions of videos every hour. So you need something that makes you you, and run with that. And then you can link your short to your longer form right there on the front of it, and boom, you're telling your audience what you've got. So that is what I tell everybody, because it's work. Let's work for me.
Absolutely. And I've seen that work on my own YouTube channel. And what Jen is talking about is when you're uploading your short, there is an area where you can actually link it to a longer video. And that's the secret sauce. It's not just post the short and, like on Instagram, you post it and you're lucky if it reaches 200 people. No, this is a way to use that as a gateway for people to get into your world and to listen to your more long format. And if you're a podcaster who's looking to get into video podcasting, it's such a great way to get that audience into the longer format that they may not otherwise find, because maybe they'll see your short, and I find the shorts get way more views, and they're like, oh, that's really cool, I want to see the rest. And then you link to the longer video. So that's an awesome hack that if you're not already doing. Thanks, Jen, for pointing that out. I want to ask you, before we jump into your transition into a different niche and all of that, how did you get confident on camera? Because so many, and women in particular, 40s, 50s and above, are like, ugh, I hate, have a face for radio. Tell us how you overcame that fear of being on video, especially someone who is going through such a big life transition of that illness and trying to move past it. How did you do that?
So I did a couple of things. One is I just did it. I think that's the secret. If there's something that's uncomfortable, but you know you should be doing it, just do the thing. Just do the thing. And then you're going to get better at it. And then you're going to feel more confident. So it's not about gaining confidence and then doing it, because if you wait to get confident on camera, you're never going to go on camera. The second thing,
Yeah.
what I tell people to do is take your phone and pretend like you're a 12-year-old. Now, if there's other people in your house, lock yourself in the bathroom, lock yourself in a room, or wait till they leave. But literally take 100 pictures of yourself. I used to have no pictures of myself. I hated the way I looked. I always said I wasn't photogenic. That's not true. I didn't know how to hold myself on camera, and I didn't know what angles to use. And so where I'm sitting right now, this is the perfect angle. It's the perfect lighting. I look 20 years younger than I look anywhere else at this exact seat. So I've curated this spot so that I felt good. And for the first 6-10 months, I sat here so that I would feel good. I'm now venturing out. I'm letting people see the sides of me that make me look my age, because I'm 56, and it's helpful. But getting that and take those pictures just from every angle, take them, take, and then pick the one. There's going to be 1 out of 100 that you say, oh my gosh, that looks good. And you make
Yeah.
that your screensaver on your phone so that you can look at it and say, oh my goodness, I can look good. And then the next day, take 50 more pictures, utilizing that angle, right? And every day you just take more and more until you have 25 pictures you like of yourself. And you know, by then you know the angle that you should take them at. And I'll give you a tip, Shirley. When you are over 40, that angle should always have that lens at or above your eye level. Do not look down. And I heard you say on one of your podcast episodes, don't sit the laptop on the desk and look down. Heavens to Betsy, no. It doesn't matter what age you are. That's never
No.
attractive. Put
No.
books under it, if nothing else. There's risers for $20, but good night. Do anything you need to put that camera up, and you're going to feel 10 times better just by doing that.
Absolutely. And it also alters the relationship between you and the viewer, because one of the biggest things I tell people when they're starting to get on camera is talk to one person. Don't imagine this whole group of people, because that's not who you're talking to. It's not like there's like 50 people crowding around a screen watching you. It's that one person. And so connecting with that one person, do you want to look down at them? Do you want to look up at them? You want to look at them eye to eye. And so why would you not do that? Because if you've got too much room above your head, then it's like you're shrinking down, and you've got this, you feel a little inferior. And then if you're kind of towering over people, then that also alters that relationship. So I love that you have that idea of getting to the point where you fall in love. Kind of, some people might get uncomfortable thinking of this, falling in love with your own photos, having yourself as your screensaver. That feels kind of vain, but it's not, like, reframing how you think about it, because so much of this is mindset, isn't it, Jen?
It is. And there's a couple of other things, since you're talking about mindset. People, especially in my generation, were taught that you can't say that anything good happened. Oh, knock on wood, I'm going to jinx it, right? But that's not how successful people talk. And it is okay to say, I took a great picture of myself today. I did a great video today, and I feel good about it. And you don't have to put a disclaimer on that. That is huge. It was huge to me to realize it's okay to say, I like that about myself, because we were literally taught not to, Shirley. And how sad is that? And I think the younger generation that's used to having a camera in their hand, they don't have that problem. But it's okay to say, I look great today, and I feel good about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 daughters who are young, and they spend a lot of time in front of the mirror and love taking selfies. And not sure I want to see what that turns into later. We're trying to avoid the phones as long as possible. But it's true. I think, we didn't grow up, and, I'm in my 40s, I'm 44. I didn't grow up with a phone in my hand taking pictures of myself constantly. We had to wait till the film was developed, check out the photo, wait till it was printed. We took the little roll of film to the store. Like, remember that? Can't even believe that was ages ago. But it's true. It's something that you have to get used to. And the only way to really get confident is to do the reps. It's like you can't expect to go to the gym once and get a six pack. Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? It's the same thing with being on camera, but there are ways to speed up that process. It doesn't have to take as long as, it took me and you, for instance. We just kind of went in and jumped in. And for me too, being a journalist before, I couldn't take that same journalist persona and apply it to being a podcaster or being a business owner, talking about my stuff on social media. I mean, that didn't fly either. So it took some, rejigging how I showed up on video as well. So no matter what your experience before, being on video as a podcaster, as a business owner, as someone who is, building a community, that's a completely different thing and requires a different mindset too, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It really does. And it's uncomfortable. But, as you know, sometimes the uncomfortable things turn out to be the best things in the end. And another thing about photos, I wouldn't recommend thinking, oh, if I want good photos, I need to go to a professional photographer. Not that there's not great ones out there, but I will tell you, out of the 5 people that have taken my picture, one of them came out really, really like I wanted it to. And so know what you like. Know what you like. Take your own pictures. And if it can be the webcam, sit here in front of your camera and, move it around and do the things, but practice on your own and know what you like. Because
yeah, totally. You know what I like? I like the flamingo over your shoulder. That's super,
thank you.
super inspiring and classy. So another thing too, have things in your background that, tell your story, that, show your personality a little bit. Because Jen, the first time you and I connected over Zoom, I was just like enamored with what I was seeing. You have this like scroll behind you. You've got the flamingo. You've got, the Jen Hardy show. I mean, you've really curated a background that shows your personality without being too distracting. So that's another great thing to do, is to, create that persona. It's also not just about how you show up on camera, but what are your surroundings? How are you showing up? And that makes a big difference too, because we never want, the plain white wall or the background being an afterthought.
No. And if you're going to have an artificial background, just know that when you move, your head cuts off. So
You're like,
you
disappear.
Yes. And no matter where you are, you can make a background. So I've got several backgrounds here in my studio because I've got a studio and I'm fortunate to have that. But yeah, you can take, even if it's somewhere in your kitchen or somewhere in your living room, make one area, curate a little pretty corner, or if you're a guy, a manly corner, and make that your spot. And because you're not going to, your whole workday isn't spent in front of the camera typically, right? So it just needs to play a place you can be comfortable and it looks good and people remember it. Right now I've got a picture here because one of my friends sent me a manatee picture, and I am showcasing that because he is just such an incredible, Robert Riggs. And can I plug True Crime Reporter? He is amazing, and if you like true crime. But he sent me this, and we live where there's manatees, and there's so few pictures that look good of manatees because they're honestly an ugly animal in general. But this is cute.
Not camera ready.
They are not camera ready, but this picture is good. So for a little while, that's going to be my background.
Awesome. Well, that's the perfect segue, Jen, into your channel rebrand that you are undertaking. So I would love to tell people about, just the evolution of the Jen Hardy brand, because a lot of people maybe start wanting to do one thing, or they go down one road because it takes off with their audience. And then suddenly they wake up and think, hold on, is this what I really want to do? So when I go to your channel, it's all judges and, true crime and legal. And so how did you get from shower thoughts to that niche? And tell us, where are you going next with your channel?
So I'm going to try to make this a very short story because so when I first started,
keep it short.
Everyone said, put your podcast on YouTube. My podcast is Fabulous Over 50. I interviewed a judge who's gorgeous. I love her, Judge Boyd. She is fabulous. She's over 50. Put it up simultaneously with Shower Thoughts. They went together, inspiring people, deep thinking, women over 50. It all made sense. But the audience that watched her, I didn't realize she was YouTube famous. And so I got this, it took off, and it was all with those people. And 3 of them said, we're not over 50. We don't like the name. Change it. Well, I did. Because in podcasting, we don't get a lot of feedback. So getting feedback on YouTube, I was like, oh, I've got to listen. You do get a lot of feedback on YouTube. You don't have to do what they say. But I'm glad I did because it took off and I had the opportunity to interview people I normally wouldn't. But I will tell you, the reason I started watching court and I found Judge Boyd was that we were fostering to adopt a child, and foster parents don't have any say in court. And I wanted to know exactly how we could keep our son. And I watched court all day, every day for 6 months. And then we did not get to keep our son. And he is unfortunately not here. And I still love him. And my heart breaks now every time I turn on court. So for the last year, without him here, I have been watching court in order to keep up with this channel. And it still is making me teary. So I've had to stop that. So I love my audience. I've made a couple videos telling them, I love them. But I can't get teary every day when I go to set up my channel. And when I interview other people that are inspiring and incredible, and some of those people will be judges, I've got some of them coming back, that makes me happy. It makes my heart happy, and it doesn't make me cry. And that's what I have to do, because if I'm going to do this 16 hours a day, which I do right now, oh goodness, Shirley, it's got to make me happy, and it can't make me sad. So that's the bottom line where it's coming from. Yeah, so I'm going back to where we started.
Back to the shower thoughts. You've got your batching done. I love that honesty, Jen, because I think a lot of us, especially those of us trying to get visible, trying to get out there is a requirement to niche down, that people tell you you've got to be really super specific, build the audience, and then you can branch out after that. But the problem with doing something like that when your heart is not totally in it, or it's not your actual passion, is you amass an audience of people who are not your people, right? And a lot of people get into this trap, and then they start producing the content they really want to make, and suddenly the audience is MIA or the engagement goes down. So would you say that rather than focusing on those vanity metrics of, trying to just get as many subscribers or followers, oh, they like this, I'll do more of this, making sure that you check in with yourself and say, but is this what I really want to do? Because that authenticity really shines when you're aligned with what your purpose is, what you really want to talk about. And there was a phase where you did really want to talk about that. That was your world and what you were doing. But I love the courage that you have to have that realization, you know what, this isn't serving me anymore. This isn't what I want to talk about. And I'm going to move in this direction. And the people who want to come along with me, they'll be there, they'll come along with me. How did you get to that point? And tell us about the struggle to, say that publicly when it probably was something you were really reflecting on for a long time.
Yeah, so when I would because you have to watch the court to find who's out there and do all the things, and it was just making me sadder and sadder, and I wasn't able to fully process this loss when I was still doing that, and it's a huge loss, and I tell you when it hit me, Shirley, is that my first press conference that I covered 2 weeks ago, I got in a press conference with Eric and Lyle Menendez's family. They put on a press conference. Only a few people were allowed. I was allowed in. And I was going to fly to the prison and I was going to interview them. And Shirley, I don't believe they should get out of prison if it's based on the fact that it was self-defense, because it absolutely was not. I'm a parent. The thought of what they did is appalling to me. I do believe that something happened to them. I do, and that is horrible. But I don't believe how they took care of it was. And if I were to fly out there, I would have to have acted like I believe they should get out. And I realized, hold on. If I'm going to spend money to fly somewhere and interview someone, there are many more people I would like to spend that money on. I don't want to pretend something, none of that was lining with me. And I need to do good. I need to. And if I'm not doing good, I don't want to be working. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks when my husband and I were planning that plane trip. No, this has got to stop. And not that the audience was asking specifically for that. I love my audience. Mwah. I mean, 74,000 people in less than a year. It's amazing. But I need to do what I need to do. And I'd had an audience member say Wow, Jen. And now this is because it was Veterans Day and I brought a veteran on my show. Normally, I would interview judges, lawyers, legislators, and ex-convicts. But I brought a veteran on to talk about Veterans Day. And this audience member said, wow, Jen, you'll bring anyone with breath on your channel. And it really hit me. And so I did this whole rebrand. It was all judges all the time. We're just going to do all these things. And then I thought, I did it again, though. I listened to one person that made me not be me. Because no, I didn't bring anyone just with breath. I brought an incredible veteran, Sean Douglas, on because he has an incredible message. And those are the people that now I'm going to bring on my channel. Anyone with an incredible message, because the world needs that, Shirley, right now. They need uplifting. They need to know that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And that's what I want to showcase.
And you are one of those extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. So tell us, what is the future of the Jen Hardy Show? For people who are excited to follow you, what can they expect? Where are you going next?
Oh my goodness. Yesterday, I got to be in, there's a TV studio that I helped design that I get to use now. It's very exciting. And I was in there with Tim Thomas, who is a gentleman, he's running for state government. And, I thought, okay, well, whatever, we'll do this interview. And then Shirley, then I did the research after I had committed. This man is a hero. And I am thrilled to show people like him. He went into North Korea to recover some of the soldiers that we lost during the Korean War, to bring them back to their families and give them closure. And he did some things like that. And those are the kind of people that I want to have on the show. I want to introduce them to the world, and so the world can know there are still good people out there, and it's still a good place to be. That's what I want to do.
That's incredible. So following your heart, and your audience will follow along. So I'm sure there's a lot of people listening, especially women who are, 40s, 50s, who are thinking of starting a YouTube channel, thinking of getting out there and using their voice. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out? Take us back to when you were just starting out. What advice would you give yourself when you first started doing this?
Try not to focus so much on you, because it's about your audience. Take the word I out of everything you do. I still do that all the time. I and me and whatever. It's not about you. It's about your audience. And that includes the way you look, because there are thousands of people that want to see someone just like you. You can be 90 years old. You can have wrinkles and gray hair, and not much gray hair. There are a lot of women dealing with thinning hair. Like, no matter what you're dealing with, there are people dealing with that, and they need to hear voices. And let me tell you what, Martha Stewart at 80 something years old was on the cover of Sports Illustrated looking 16. People are tired of that. They want to see you in your authentic self. Let's show them what women really look like over 50. I just really want to see more of that. And men need to see more of that, because when they see these airbrushed women, they look at their wives and they think, why don't you look like that? There need to be more women out there so they can see what the reality is, so that the men can be happier with what they have and understand that this is what aging looks like. It's not this airbrushed, surgically, whatever. Unless you want to do that, do that too. I think everybody should be able to be what they want and be comfortable in their own skin, even though it's hard.
Yeah, and audiences, that's amazing. Audiences are really craving that and want that. So it's so incredible that they have you as a role model. Jen, where can people find you if they want to connect with you? What's the best way?
JenHardy.net. That's my what is the word? Website. Yes, that's it.
People still have websites.
Everything is there. And then if you want to find, I'm the Jen Hardy everywhere else, but JenHardy.net, you can find all the things, and it just makes it a one-stop shop. And if you're going to be in Florida on March 28th, we are having an epic, epic party for podcasters.
Yes. So last thing, just tell us a little bit about this initiative that you have for podcasters, because I know that's a really exciting initiative that you've been talking about on all your socials. So tell us what's going on. What can we expect?
It's the 50 over 50 Podcaster Awards, and I am not allowed to say that it is the Oscars of podcasting, because that is a trademarked name. But let me tell you what, it is the red carpet event. You're going to come out of your car onto the red carpet with pictures. We've got robots serving drinks. We have people coming from all over the United States and Canada, and 4 continents of people have been nominated. It is a truly international awards. It's going to be amazing. And we're celebrating
I'm so
people
excited.
over 50. Yeah.
That is amazing. We will link in the show notes all of the ways to get in touch with Jen, your podcast awards. Thank you so much, Jen, for joining me. For everyone watching live or watching on the replay or listening on the podcast, I have had such a pleasure to interview you today, and I'm excited to continue following your journey. You are an inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And you are way too kind. I appreciate this.